Greetings, booktubers, and welcome back to Grammaticus Books. Today what we got online for you is Marvel Comic Books, Conan the Barbarian, issue number 24, Song of Red Sonja. And the question on everybody's mind is this, or is it not, in fact, the most beautiful comic book ever produced by Marvel? And the answer to that question is yes, yes it is. And I, Grammaticus, am here to tell you why today. But first, before we get into it, I wanted just a quick word about today's video. Today's video is going to be a little bit different from my normal videos in that it's going to have 3 parts to it. So it's going to test my video editing skills here a little bit. But the first part is just this introduction, going over why I think, in very broad terms, why this actually is the most beautiful comic ever produced by Marvel. And then section 2 is going to be me unboxing this comic book for the first time. I just found it last week down in the stacks of the archives, the comic archives. Still sealed in its archival comic book sealer, never opened. I had forgot it was there. I found it while I was looking for Conan the Barbarian number 22 and 23, which is Shout of the Vulture, which I put into my Swords of the Thunder video, which if you haven't seen that video, check it out. It's a good one. And then realized I had never looked at issue number 24, The Song of Red Sonja. So part 2 is me opening it up, cutting the tape for the first time, and get my first impressions on it, which are I think, quite entertaining and an amazing experience for me to see this beautiful comic for the first time ever. And then the third part is me just laying it out for you, which I had to do as soon as I saw it. As soon as I went through this thing, I knew that I had to lay it down and just page by page, slowly turn it so that you guys can all see every single just wonderfully illustrated panel, panel by panel, page by page in this gorgeous comic. So it's a little bit different today. That's how we're going to do it with the 3 parts. It'll test my video editing skills here, which will be good for me as well, which I'm here trying to straighten my camera. Just bear with me a minute. I think I got it straight there. But so why is this the most beautiful Marvel comic? And in the name, it's Barry Windsor Smith. This isn't Barry Windsor Smith on issue 1 of Conan the Barbarian, where he's a little bit crude. He's still feeling out his style. He's still basically mimicking Jack Kirby to a great extent. This is Barry Windsor Smith at issue 24. He's 2 years into his run, and he has fully developed his artistic abilities and his style, and it's all come together, and it's at the peak of his career when he does his final episode of Conan the Barbarian, and it is magnificent to see him just at the height of his powers, a rock god of art, of comic book art, demonstrating to us mere mortals how great he can bring to life Robert E. Howard's stories and the level of detail and embellishment and imagination that he is able to do it with is just beyond compare. There are very few artists who had the talent that he had, and this is him at the top of his talent. And then on top of that, you've got the inks and colorings that were available to Marvel Comics and the other comics back in 1972. That's when this was published. Back then, they could still afford, it wasn't cost prohibitive to use these bright, vibrant colors that you see here on the cover in order to just bring out in such a vibrant, rich, lustrous colors and a tableau of colors that you see in this comic book that you don't see today just because it's cost prohibitive, and they use a lot more blending of a muted colors palette than they do in these earlier comics, particularly from 1972. So you got Barry Windsor Smith at the height of his powers, combined with these brilliant colors, along with a great Roy Thomas story. And every single panel here is just embellished to the nth degree. Every single square millimeter of it that Barry Windsor Smith can put some type of a detail or extra little edge to it. He goes ahead and he takes that extra mile and he does it. And it just is fantastic. So stay tuned here. I'm going to get up for part 2 where I open this thing up. I'm going to go through it with you, get my first impressions, and then you can see the entire comic book in its entirety at the end of the video, page by page, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. If you think there's another comic out there, another Marvel comic that is more beautiful than this one, please let me know down in the comments, and I'd love to hear it, and I will get back to you. So that's it. Here comes part 2. Greetings, booktubers, and welcome back to Grammaticus Books. What we've got on tap for you here today is, as promised in the last video, which was on Edgar Rice Burroughs' Princess of Mars. Check that out if you haven't. Today, though, is going to be episode, or I should say issue number 24 of Conan the Barbarian from Marvel Comics, from the old series back in the day. And there it is. When I did my Swords of the Thunder review and showed the comic book version of Shadow of the Vulture, right here, which actually got published twice by Marvel Comics in the 1970s. Here you got Gil Kane, here you got Barry Windsor Smith for Shadow of the Vulture out of the story, the novel Swords of the Thunder by Robert E. Howard. I mentioned that I would be opening this up, that I had this final episode, this final issue that was written by Barry Windsor Smith. This is his final work on the original run of Conan in Marvel Comics before he left the magazine, or left the company there for a brief time. Actually, it's a little bit more than a brief time. And this is his final work on Conan, which is at number 24. Kind of a little vignette on episodes 22 and 23 with Shadows of the Vulture. They originally came out with this one, number 22, saying they were doing the Robert E. Howard story, Shadows of the Vulture, converted by Roy Thomas over for Conan in Marvel Comics. But Barry Windsor Smith didn't get him the artwork in on time. So they said it was lost in the mail, and then reprinted episode 1, issue 1, and then had to do Shadow of the Vulture here in episode 23, or issue, I keep saying episode, in issue number 23 of Conan the Barbarian, which is really great. This is, again, it's Barry Windsor Smith, even though it's got a Gil Kane cover on it, and Gil Kane's a great artist as well. But during that one, again, I said I found that I had issue 24, which was Barry Windsor Smith's last artwork on the original run of Conan, before he left the comic book left the company, Marvel Comics, where they left of his own volition, or he got fired before his inability to meet deadlines is a toss-up. You can go either way with it. But either way, he did wind up leaving the company, and it's a shame, because if you look at this cover here versus the quality of his artwork on the very first issue of Conan, I mean, he has matured over his 2 years here drawing the Conan comic book just tremendously. He's gone from what really was sort of a very crude, might be a little bit too strong of a term, but a less sophisticated art style, to just this fantastic detailed work where he had really matured as an artist working on the Conan series. And I found this one when I was pulling out the Shadow of the Vulture for the Swords of the Thunder video that I did, and I noticed that I don't think I've ever opened this. So we're going to open it up right here today, take a look at it, and see if the interior is as promising as this cover is, which is just, it's magnificent. I mean, just look at that cover. It is gorgeous. So we're opening this one up, and we're going to go through it, and that's what we're doing today. I'm not going to read it word for word, but we'll go through, check it out, and see if it's as good as the cover lives up to be. Tape on the back. Work of the devil with comics. Tape bad. I'm going to cut that in there. Cut this one here. So I picked this up somewhere decades ago. It's been so long, I don't even remember where I got it or how I got it. I think this is a pristine copy, and it's been stored in archival quality comic book cover here. I think the idea was to pick up a reading copy at some point, which I never did. I just have this one here. So there, we've cut that away and cut the tape so it won't grab the cover on the way out and make me have to kill myself if I tear this cover. And we'll pull this one out. Here it comes. Come on out of there. Come on, boy, get. And there we got it. Issue number 24. Seeing the light of day, or the light of fresh air for the first time in decades. 20 cents. Issue 24, Marvel Comics, Conan the Barbarian. This is the first full appearance of Red Sonja. Red Sonja does make appearance in number 23, but it's considered like a brief, almost a guest appearance, not a full appearance. And then here's the first full appearance of her. And for some reason, they changed her name from Y, which, like it is in Swords of the Thunder, Shadow of the Vulture, to a J. Don't know why. I think only Roy Thomas knows why they did it that way. If somebody else knows, please put that down in the comments. I'd love to read it. So we got Conan the Barbarian. This is 1972. And then look at this front cover, this full cover here. You got Red Sonja dancing up on a table. Not in a chainmail bikini. She's wearing a bikini, but actually has a little more on top than what she is wearing in some of the subsequent artists' interpretations of her. And then there's Conan and the other, I think, Turanian soldiers down there singing her praises. So what does it say? It says, all the world's a gore-rimmed sea. Lo, the devil laughs with glee. Come and dance then, you with me. Come and caper wild and free. With red blood those fires are lit. Hades' smoke is tinged with it. It's a little poem by Robert E. Howard right here at the top. It's a nice touch. I like it. It's good stuff. And we're going to set the stage. It is Makalet, a city surrounded by hostile swords out of distant Turin. So he's not with Turanian soldiers. He's with Makalet soldiers. I should have known that off the last episode. But in that sector of the city where the taverns are the thickest, the shouts this night are not of war. And they're shouting for Sonja as she's up there dancing on the table. Oh, look at this. Look at this interior panel work. It's gorgeous. It's spectacular. And so engulfed in a whirling, mirthless trance, the warrior maiden scarcely hears the loud huzzas of Sonja, but they're not without effect. One of the audience tries to grab her. So you got a big lout here. You know what's coming. Over here, you've got this big Makalet soldier here who's a big bruiser who's had a little bit too much to drink and decides he's going to grab Sonja. Yep, and then predictably, he and Conan come to a bit of an argument over Sonja, and it looks like Conan takes the first blow pretty hard, which is kind of good to see that you've got a hero. He can get cracked every now and then. So he's down on the floor here, up on the top of page 2. Then he smashes this guy with a chair. I guess his name's Jax. Because you try to hurt Big Jax, but no effect. And it looks like things are going to turn pretty bad here. And it looks like Conan might have bit off more than he can chew. That's pretty unusual for a Conan comic book. And I can tell you the truth, I kind of like that. And so here we go over to the next page. And it just breaks out into a giant bar brawl. What a shocker. What a shocker. A bar brawl in a Conan comic book where he has to cut his way out. He and Red Sonja. But really nice stuff. Love the colors in these old comic books. This comic, it's pristine. If you got this rated, if you turned it in and had it graded, this has got to be a 9, probably a 9+ that would be graded. And I just love this art. Oh my gosh, check this out. So they're coming out of the bar, and it's Sonja and Conan walking through Makalet in the city, and they dive into a pool. And just look how beautiful that artwork is by Barry Windsor Smith. It's just fantastic stuff. You just don't see the detail like that you do, but in today's comic books, you get a lot of Photoshop. Look at the face of Conan down there. Look at the hair, the wet hair coming out of the pool. It's beautiful. And that's why I collected this comic book when I was a kid. I loved the artwork. You had Barry Windsor Smith started off, and then Big John Buscema picked it up right where Barry Windsor Smith left off, and he was just as good. Some more gorgeous artwork by Barry Windsor Smith. It's like he and Sonja are starting to get a little close, and I'm guessing Sonja's going to give him the big rebuff. And looks like they're riding out of Makalet. I think they got in a little bit of trouble for their bar brawl, so they're hopping up on their horses and off they go. And again, this is just a tour de force of how to draw comic books. Check out this guard's helmet here, the amount of detail that he put into it. Most comic book artists would not have done that. Instead, what they would have done is just drawn a basic steel bassinet on the head with no detail on it at all. But instead, Barry Windsor Smith is going to go ahead and he's going to put in all the detail with it. Oh, and then we've got something coming on here. It looks like a wizard. This almost looks like the borders are gone. The gutters are gone off of this page. So let me make sure this is not something different. I haven't delved into a different story. And so down here we've got end of part 1. Got a nice little cityscape. It says end of part 1, but then it says continued after next page. So you got the usual 1972 advertisements. And then this is part of the comic. There comes even to wizards a time of great fear. Then the golden throne of power is turned to brass, and the gleaming scepter of power is crusted over with dross. And so it is this night with the man called Karam Akkad. All right, so we got our bad guy, Karam Akkad. And again, their work, like I suspected was going to be, has just been fantastic on every page. Check out the cityscape that he's got right here, right above my finger. Really nice stuff. Love the detail on it. Well, incidentally, Barry Windsor Smith used to say he time traveled. And not like he would just imagine things, like he honestly believed that he could go back in time. And that's why he was able to recreate the feel of ancient cities so well, is because he would be walking down the street and then the ages would just fade back in the mist and he would be back there walking down, 1,000 years ago, wherever he was. Swear to God, this is his quotes. This is what he said. And who knows, maybe he could, because he really could draw like nobody else. I mean, check out that tower right there. That's a gorgeous tower. And perhaps that was the secret of how he was able to really bring to life these scenes and these feels. Oh my gosh, then of course they're scaling the tower. They're going up a wizard's tower. Reminds me a lot of Tower of the Elephant, where the Prince of Thieves and Conan are scaling the Tower of the Elephant over here on this side, where they're going up it. It's very similar to that. And love just the face drawing there on Red Sonja. This is beautiful. Oh, and we got a treasure room. Look at this treasure room right here in the center page, the center panel. That's just beautiful work. Look at all the detail in there. Well, and it's like they find a little piece of treasure, which takes Red Sonja's fancy, and then that's the end of part 2. So I haven't read this. I'm just kind of flipping through it. I'll have to read it in depth, tell you about it. Oh, wow. And of course, the piece of treasure that kind of sucks her in, grabs her gaze, and captures her soul. That golden snake that she picked up, of course, it turns into something evil. When you're in a wizard's tower, never pick up something that's other than a gold coin or a standard gem, because this is probably what's going to happen to you. Suddenly you're fighting for your life against some magical demon. But man, look at that scene. Just take a look at that. And look at the other page too. And they're taking and removing the gutters between the panels, which is a nice effect on it. I don't know if that was a mistake. They took the gutters out there. It looks like it was done intentionally, just to make the page flow a little better. And I do like that effect. It's nice. And of course, our golden serpent monster just becomes bigger and bigger. You've got the giant golden asp, and it's a sword fight with Conan and Sonja against the golden serpent. Check out this expression of fear right here on Conan. That's nice. That's somebody who really knows how to draw emotions. And then this here, this style right here on his serpent, the golden horned serpent that they're fighting, that's a very familiar style of how Barry Windsor Smith liked to draw his reptiles. He's got a number of reptiles. You're writing Conan comic books, you're going to have giant reptiles that fight you, or giant toads, as they like to say. And that's very distinctive of how Barry Windsor Smith would depict reptiles in his comic books. And I like it. It's very nice. Really goes into drawing the individual scales, and he makes the scales look lumpy. Gives it a good effect. Gives it some depth to it. Makes it feel like if you ran your hand over it, it would have a nice tactile feel to it. So it looks like, what is Conan doing here? But as a brief delay is allowed Conan to reach a jewel-filled casket nearby, and for the casket in turn to reach the serpent. So he grabs a jewel-filled casket and then smashes the serpent in the head with it. This is Tower of the Elephant. That is Tower of the Elephant right there. Except instead of a spider, you've got a big golden serpent that's been animated through magic, through wizardly devices, just like in Tower of the Elephant. And just like in Tower of the Elephant, he smashes it with a casket filled with jewels and gold. So it looks like they decided to take Tower of the Elephant and put Red Sonja into a Tower of the Elephant tale. Oh, but it's not dead. We're still going. The battle continues on the next 2 pages. And again, through the whole artwork here, it's just the amount of detail, the color, the brightness of the colors. I really enjoy that. Take a look at the serpent rising up here on this panel here that goes all the way from bottom to top. Wonderful stuff. Wonderful stuff. And you can see why it took Barry Windsor Smith so long to, meet his deadlines, because he put so much effort into it. He put so much detail into it. Well, and predictably, both Conan and Red Sonja defeat the serpent. I'm not sure precisely how. I'll go through when I read it and get the details on it. But there they've done in the wizard serpent. And then they go back down and out of the tower. It looks like they go back out the way they came in by using ropes down the side. The silken strand burns like dry straw at the touch of the magic-born flame, and Conan has no choice but to let loose the fast-burning rope and take yet a third steep fall this memorable evening. So he falls down to the green sward at the foot of the tower. My leg feels like it's the thing on fire, but that won't stop me now. By Ishtar Gur, you'll pay with kisses aplenty, for no man's lips shall ever touch mine, Cimmerian. There's old Red Sonja for you. I think she undid whatever magic it was letting the rope that got him up there. She says, save those of him who has defeated me on the field of battle, and that even you shall never do. And then she rides off. Conan muses about the outcome of the night, and then he walks off. So let's see what Conan says as he walks off of here after Red Sonja stands him up. It was not goodbye, wench. We'll meet again some bright day or some dark night, and then by Crom, and he punches a wall. Well, I bruised my hand this night, and my leg smarts as though kicked by a mule, but perhaps I'd best get back to barracks while I've still members left to call my own. And that's the end of the story. They get up there, looks like it all goes sideways on them, and they come down, but thankfully none the worse for wear for entering the wizard's tower. And I think that's it. Let's see if there's anything else here on the last page. Nope, it's just the Hyborian page, letters to the editor. So that, my friends, is Conan issue number 24, The Song of Red Sonja. And wow, what just a tour de force of artwork by Barry Windsor Smith. Again, you can see why it took him so long to draw these comics. In my opinion, was worth the wait. I know Marvel really had some ins and outs with Barry Windsor Smith on his ability to meet deadlines. But man, when he got you the stuff, the product was just phenomenal. So great stuff. And that, let me get it back in here without degrading my 9+ issue. Don't catch up on that corner, no, get in there. Yep, there it goes, sliding in like a hand in a glove. Back, we will not be taping that back up. No, we will not. And there's the cover to what it's got to be one of the best issues of Conan ever produced. It's fantastic. Little plagiarism there by Roy Thomas. I'm sure that's Roy Thomas who wrote this with Tower of the Elephant. But hey, great story. Conan and Red Sonja and their version of Tower of the Elephant. And like I said, just an absolute tour de force with the artwork. It's just stupendous. I have no idea what this issue would cost you if you were to try to get it out on eBay or somewhere else. I'm guessing you could get that for under $100, under a bill. But the condition that would be in, I don't know, might be variable. But I would guess somewhere between $50 and $80 you can get a really good copy of it, and probably for $20. Again, I'm spitballing, but I think $20 you could get a nice reading copy if you were interested in it. A fantastic copy. Thanks for hanging out with me and enjoying that with me. I'm going to have to now go back and read every word of that and get all that story down in there. See exactly how Roy Thomas alters Tower of the Elephant for Red Sonja. But thanks, take care, be safe, and hopefully I'll be catching you in the future.